Hi, I'm John Landells for Mattermost, and in this video I'll give you an introduction to our intelligent mission environment. Mattermost is a secure messaging and collaboration platform designed to enable our customers to efficiently and effectively communicate across their organization and with selected partners. We can see we're logged in here, and on the left hand side we have a list of all of the channels that this user is a member of. We have different types of channels in here. Some are public channels that anybody with an account in this system can become a member of, but we also have private channels that you need to be invited to. And in fact, we even have channels that are private and use something called attribute-based access controls, so that we can actually read attributes from the user's account. In this case, we're using LDAP. And based on that, anyone with these specific security clearances will be automatically added to this channel. Anyone that doesn't have them will be automatically removed. So if I have a look at this channel here, you can see there's already some information in here. But what if we get another message coming in? This is an interesting message. It's from Operation Nordwind, but it's in German and I don't speak German. So what am I going to do? Well, I can use the AI capabilities of Mattermost. I can come in here and I can see that I can communicate using OpenAI, which is just a generic AI that I have configured, or I have my dedicated JOC, Joint Operations Command AI. What this means is we can have multiple AI agents configured. Maybe some of them are public, maybe some of them are private. We can have each one of them have custom instructions that give information about how they should behave within your organization, any custom information that they need. So I'm going to use this, and to start with, I'm just going to say summarize the thread. Now the great thing is, it's summarizing it in English for me. It's automatically translating it because I've told it I want all of my information in English. I could also come in here and I could say, are there any action items? Are there any open questions? And I can even do that for the entire channel. If maybe I've been out of office for a few hours and I come back in and there's a lot of messages in here, I can do the same thing. I can select the AI I want to use. I can say summarize any new messages, find action items, or even find if there are any open questions addressed to me. One of the key things when using Mattermost is that it's more than just this communication tool. It also acts as a way to stop us having to context switch between lots and lots of different apps. And we do this through integrations which give us an event-driven situational awareness. Okay, so I'm in here in my Intel updates, and in my Intel updates I might get an inbound event coming in this instance from Palantir Maven. It's giving us all of the data that we need from Palantir. It gives us links back to Palantir if I wanted to go there and look at it. But what's important is I don't have to. I don't have to make that context switch from here to Palantir. I can stay in my communication tool. From here, what I might want to do is this time I'm going to communicate directly with the AI. I'm going to ask it to summarize the event, to give me a threat assessment and suggest a tactical response. Then I'm going to ask it to use this information as a context to write an enhanced, detailed 2-page report for a 2-star general in both English and in French. So we get the summary, we get the threat assessment, we get the tactical response, and then here's our detailed report. You can see it's done this immediately for me just with a single prompt. So what I might want to do is I might want to say, well, okay, this is all well and good, but we actually want to take some action. And we take action in Mattermost through something called playbooks. So I'm going to say run a playbook. Given that this is a strategic force build-up, I'm probably going to want to task a UAV to go and look at this. So I've given it a name, and I'm going to start the run. And what it does when it starts the run is it brings me into here, gives me a link to my original post, and because I started the run from that message, it gives me all of the context in here. As well as this, down the right-hand side of my screen, I actually have the playbook. Now, a playbook, you can think of it as like a to-do list, but it's a very focused to-do list, very strategic around the specific playbook that we're working on, which is tasking a UAV. The first thing that I need to do is I need to assemble the operations team in here. And I have a little command which will invite these people to my channel. We can see straight away that they've been added. So I can check this off. The next thing it's asking me to do is to pull a satellite image. I can do this by actually going out to Palantir and looking at whatever screenshots I can get from there. So what I have, here's a screenshot. I'm just going to post that. So this is now available. I can check this off. You notice there's a timer. There's some priority to this, some urgency. I've done this. Now, before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my team to review everything that's here. We're going to be doing a mission briefing, but we need them to be aware of what's going on. So I will say at Jock Ops. Okay, this was the team that I invited earlier. I'm going to say review data above, and I'm going to ask them to acknowledge this. Now, by asking them to acknowledge, first of all, what I'm going to say is this is urgent, and I want an acknowledgement. But more than that, because this is so important, you know, we've potentially got troops building up that are going to be invading or attacking. So I want to send a persistent notification. So if people don't acknowledge this, they will get a ping every 5 minutes until they do. So if I apply this and I post the message, you can see first of all it's marked as urgent. And then we have at the bottom this little indicator of how many people that were mentioned have actually acknowledged this yet. So that will count up as people come onto the call. So the next thing we want to do is to start a call. We've got our mission briefing here. And this starts the call within the channel. I'm going to record this call so that I can refer back to it later. And I'm going to unmute my microphone. The important thing here is that I'm going to show my team something whilst we're discussing it. So I have on my local machine, I have this battlefield overview. I want to share this screen. That's here. Okay, so I can share this. We can have a conversation. We can be talking about this. And all of the time we're recording this, people can be coming in and out of the meeting and taking part. When it's finished, I simply come back in here and I can end the call. Now, immediately we get a response. And that response is saying, here's the call recording. Behind the scenes, we're already processing a transcription, which is also powered by our AI agents. Calls can be started anywhere. We typically will include them in a playbook so that everyone's on the same page at the start of something that's as important as this mission briefing. But as you can see at the top of the page, we can start a call from pretty much anywhere. It can even be one-to-one. So you can see here we have the call transcription. This will just give us a text file where we can look at what was said. But what's really interesting is if we go back to the call recording, let me fast forward to where we were sharing the screen. you can see we now get subtitles thanks to that transcription. And whoever spoke on the call, their name will be at the beginning of the subtitles, just as you can see here. So if I go back to my playbook, you can see that we finished the mission briefing. We might want to get a weather assessment. If you remember, we had coordinates here. So I'm going to ask for weather for those coordinates. And we immediately get what the current weather conditions are, plus a 6-hour forecast. This is done through something that's called custom/commands. And you can write a custom/ command to do whatever you need it to do. In this case, what we need it to do is go out and get this information for us. I can mark that as done. Now, as we work through our playbook, we'll get to the point where we have, we've completed the tasks that we need to. We eventually get right to the end. We've done a post-flight inspection down here. Obviously, we've landed the drone, and we want to get to the mission data. So what we might do is once again go into Palantir and pull out a screenshot of what it recorded, so that we have something within this channel, within this playbook, as a record of what was actually seen on the battlefield. I can then finish this run, and it asks us to start a retrospective or an after-action report. So if I come in here, I can give it a summary. Okay. I can also add a proper after-action report. And in this case, all we're interested in is how long did it take. So let's say that it took 4 hours and 32 minutes. And we publish this. What this allows us to do is, if we go back to the playbook itself, we can start seeing reports of how long did things take, or any other stats. We're only capturing duration here, but we could be capturing multiple statistics to allow us to build up a picture over time of how these playbook runs are executing. The final thing I'd like to show you today is boards. Think of boards as like a Kanban style board that you can create for whatever you need in your environment. Here we have a Joint Operations Command board, and we're looking at the status of various missions that are ongoing. These are typically larger scale missions rather than the tactical playbooks that are going through a specific operation. These are larger scale things that need lots of coordination. So just like any Kanban board, we've got the various stages, and we can just drag our cards through these stages. We can customize what goes in here. We can comment on them. We can share them to specific channels so that people can find them easily. Wherever you might use a Kanban board, we can do exactly the same thing with Mattermost boards directly in the tool. Once again, I'm John Landells for Mattermost. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, we'd be pleased to answer them for you.